Hello, how is everybody today? Welcome to Pat's Movie Mania. We are up to volume number 9, and we were a little late this week again. I tried to get them out on Sunday evening, but that wasn't possible. So we're a few days late, but I hope you enjoyed anyhow. Anyway, we're going to look at a couple of movies and do our top 10 list. And hopefully we'll have a director's spotlight this week, but I'm not sure about that yet. We're going to give it a shot. Okay, so our first movie we're going to look at today is from 2020, and this is called The Trial of the Chicago 7. As you know, I'm a sucker for historical dramas and true stories, so this was produced on Netflix. It was released only on Netflix, not in a theater, which goes to show you how the movie business has changed. This has actually received a few Academy Award nominations for a movie that was not seen at the theaters. Anybody who is my age or older will remember the trial of Chicago 7, the people who were accused of rioting and causing a riot during the 1968 Democratic Convention and in Chicago. And this was basically their trial. If you love courtroom dramas, this is for you. The cast is just impeccable. I mean, this is what makes a movie in my opinion. You can have a good movie, you can have a good script, you can have a good director. If you don't have good actors, it's not going to work. So this had Sacha Baron Cohen as Abby Hoffman, Eddie Redmayne as Tom Hayden, Jeremy Strong as Jerry Rubin, and you also had Frank Langella as the judge, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, David Carroll Lynch as David Dellinger, and to me, the movie was stolen by Mark Rylance, who played their lawyer, William Kunstler. Oscar winner that he is, he just did an amazing job in that role. There's also a very crucial role, small but crucial role, by Michael Keaton as former Attorney General Ramsey Clark. Now, of course, everyone knows the outcome to this story, and some of the scenes are brutal to watch. The Bobby Seale, when the judge ordered him bound and gagged. I mean, just think of that happening today. But just really, really well done, and it was almost like watching the whole thing. So that's Trial of the Chicago 7. It's still available on Netflix if you'd like to see it, and it's there. So I would go watch it. I'd watch it again if I had time, but I got to keep doing the new movies. So our second movie we're going to look at is also what you might call an historical drama, although it's not really a drama, but it's called I, Tonya. And this is about the Tonya Harding-Nancy Kerrigan incident where her people, Tonya Harding's people, supposedly, well, not supposedly, they really did hit Nancy Kerrigan in the knee with a blunt object to keep her out of the Olympics so that Tonya could win more medals. They kind of paint her as I don't want to say innocent, but she didn't have a lot of control over what was going on. It was mostly her husband, who was played by Sebastian Stan, an up-and-coming Sebastian Stan, and his cohort, who Paul Walterhauser is fast becoming one of my favorite actors recently, who played Sean Eckert, who actually engineered the assault. Margot Robbie, good in the title role. Of course, the movie was basically almost stolen by Allison Janney, who won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress as Tanya's mother, her foul-mouthed, disgusting mother. But she did a great job in that role, just outstanding, deserved the Oscar. I wanted to see Laurie Metcalf win it that year for Lady Bird, but I can't argue with Allison Janney winning it in this. And you also have Bobby Cannavale, Juliana Nicholson is one of her skating trainers, and everybody was great in this. Holds your interest from start to finish. This is available right now on Tubi. An interesting thing about this that I just recently found out is that Tonya Harding is one of the few female skaters in history who've pulled off a triple axel, and they weren't able to recreate that. Of course, for the movies, they had to do it digitally because nobody could really do it on cue, and I found that very interesting. So, it's a little hot in here. It's 98 degrees outside today. Thank God I have air conditioning. So, that brings us to our top 10 list. And this year it is one of my alarms. This year it is 1986. Good year for movies. One of the local theaters opened up that year, so it was a nice new place to see a movie, Cinema South, and so went there quite a bit. Also, this was the heyday of the VCR rentals too, so it wasn't that hard to find anything. So let's get started at number 10. Coming in on my list is Top Gun. We all know Top Gun with Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, Anthony Edwards. Story of fighter pilot training at the Top Gun studio, at the Top Gun Air Force base, whatever the heck it is. And cheesy as it is, it's a lot of good action, good story. You can't complain about Tom Cruise. You had Val Kilmer, Rick Rossovich, just a real good cast. One of those movies from the 80s. If they made it today, it would probably be a little different. They did do a sequel a few years ago. It wasn't too bad, but it's kind of basically the same show with Miles Teller, and Tom Cruise is also in that as an instructor now. But Top Gun number 10, 1986, available on Paramount Network and Pluto. Pluto is a free service with commercials, so if you want to see it, check it out. And this brings us to number 9. This is a movie that, when it was released, it was popular, but it's become more of a cult thing now, and it's John Hughes' Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Story of Matthew Broderick, who's a high school student, decides to take the day off, roams all around the city with his friend, played by Alan Ruck, and they go to the Cubs game. They do this. They actually sing "Shake, Twist, and Shout" in the middle of the street in Chicago with a crowd. Not the most realistic movie in the world, but like I said, it's got a cult following now. It's quoted a lot. Matthew Broderick does a great job. John Hughes is at his peak here, and stay through the closing credits. You'll see a few other funny things. Which brings us to number 8. It's one of my personal favorites. Didn't get a lot of good reviews, but I liked it. And that's Little Shop of Horrors, directed by Frank Oz, starring Rick Moranis, Ellen Greene, and Steve Martin as the sadistic dentist. Musical, of course, about a monstrous plant that needs blood and human blood to keep growing, and becomes very mean, starts killing people. Not too nice of a plant, is it? But Ellen Greene is really good in this movie. I was going through a Rick Moranis phase here where I thought he was really good. He still is, but he just kind of took a break from acting. But as far as comedy actors go, he's up there with everybody else, and he really did a good job in this as Seymour, the main character. Ellen Greene has a great voice, great singing voice, and the only thing that wasn't the best, the special effects on the plant weren't real great. But I don't know, maybe today with CGI they could probably do a better job. But it was what it was back then. And a lot of good songs in this. Steve Martin's turn as the sadistic dentist is hilarious. And nobody else could have played that part as good as he. And that's Little Shop of Horrors, which unfortunately is only available on rental. But I'm sure it'll show up somewhere at some time. So, let's bring in number 7, one of my favorite comedies of all time. Might have been rated a little higher, but I got it at number 7, and that's the Zucker Brothers' Ruthless People. To me, one of the funniest movies you'll ever see. It's about a couple who's kidnaps Bette Midler, who's a wife of a guy that screwed them over in a fashion deal. So they kidnap Bette Midler, and the funny thing, the twist of the movie is Danny DeVito doesn't want her back. He can't stand her. He wants her to be killed or kidnapped, so he doesn't want to pay the ransom. And it goes from there. You have Judge Reinhold and Helen Slater play the couple, and they're really cute in it. Danny DeVito was one of his best comedy roles, I thought, and Bette Midler is almost the whole movie in this. Really good performance by her. And Bill Pullman, who plays the stupidest man on earth, is also very funny in it, and Anita Morris is in it also. Just a good cast, very funny ending. And again, one of my favorite comedies of all time, Ruthless People. This is available on Prime Video, so if you have Prime, you don't have to buy it. You can rent it free or watch it free. Which brings us to number 6. Again, a movie that I would probably rank higher today, and that's Stand By Me, directed by the late Rob Reiner, starring the late River Phoenix, Will Wheaton, among others, Corey Feldman, and this is from a Stephen King story that wasn't supernatural. It was about 4 boys who, back in late 60s, late 50s, early 60s, up in Maine, and they know where a body is of a missing boy, and they decide to go find him. Along with, and then they don't know that some of the other older thugs are also doing the same thing. And the book was just wonderful. And when a movie like can get the gist of the book and the mood and capture everything just right, it's really good. And that doesn't happen that often, let's face it. But this one did. Um, there were some things left out of the movie that were in the book, but nothing major. It stayed very close to the story. Performance of the younger actors was just phenomenal. Now I grew up a few years later than this took place, but I still was able to relate to it, because I was still kind of in that generation, and it was really, really poignant in that sense. And it's just sad because Rob Reiner made so many good movies, and what happened to him is just horrible. And same thing with River Phoenix. So if you can catch this, I'd say read the book first. This was in Stephen King's different seasons. It was one of the stories. It was called The Body, and they changed it to Stand By Me for the movie, which was fine. This is available on MGM Plus. Uh, the music is really, really wonderful in it, and just I can't say anything bad about this movie. There's nothing bad about it. It's almost perfect. So check it out if you can. I think you'll really enjoy it, especially if you're of my generation. But anybody can like this movie. Richard Dreyfuss has a cameo as the older Gordy. Gordy that is the person who's actually telling the story, and he was the writer. Richard Dreyfuss plays him in a bookend part as the adult Gordy. So that's a plus also. Which brings us to number 5. Now, they always say that sequels are never good as the original, and usually they aren't. But this one is exception to that rule, and that is Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens, the sequel to the original movie Alien by Ridley Scott. With this has some of your same cast. Sigourney Weaver is actually the only one. She was the only one that survived the first movie. So you also have Michael Biehn, Bill Paxton, among others, Paul Reiser. And this is Ripley, who's played by Sigourney Weaver, goes back with this commercial company to supposedly set up a colony on another planet, but what they're really doing is looking for the alien. And she wants to kill it. They want to keep it. That story. The action is here is basically nonstop. Some say this was better than the original Alien. It certainly wasn't as dark and moody as the original Alien. Whether it was better or not, I don't know, but it certainly was its equal. And the ones that were made after this, to me, never lived up to either of the first two. So, Aliens, 1986, James Cameron, prior to Titanic, doing what he does best here. Which brings us to number 4. And this is a movie by one of my favorite directors, and that's Woody Allen. And this is Hannah and Her Sisters. This is a story of 3 sisters, played by Mia Farrow, Barbara Hershey, and Diane Weiss. Diane Weiss won her first supporting actress Academy Award for this movie. And they're in New York, which, as all Woody Allen movies usually are. And Woody himself plays a director who thinks he's dying, but he's really not. And there's a nice little tie-up at the end with he and Diane Weiss. But you have Michael Caine, who plays Mia Farrow's husband, but he's actually pining for Barbara Hershey, and they actually do get together in the movie. And my favorite performance in this was Barbara Hershey's boyfriend, who's played by Max von Sydow, and he was much older than her, but they had a relationship. He was an artist, old curmudgeon kind of guy, but he did a great job in this, as he usually does. And Mia Farrow's good. Her parents were played, or Lloyd Nolan played her father. This is now, I heard around this time, I don't know who actually said it, but that as far as Woody Allen goes, that there's Major Allen and Minor Allen. And, in his major movies, you're going to talk about Annie Hall, this, Crimes and Misdemeanors, that kind of thing. Your Minor Allen, you got Celebrity, uh, Another Woman, that kind of thing, Interiors. So this was definitely major. He pulled out all the stops on this one. Great story, great performances, and probably one of his best, if not the best. And that's available on Pluto and MGM also. So this is one you don't want to miss if you're a Woody Allen fan like I am. Brings us to number three, a little known movie. Now, not really little known for movie people, but this is River's Edge, and this is a bizarre story, but was actually based on a true story of four teens who, not four teens, a group of teens, and one of the guys murders his girlfriend, and basically for no reason. And instead of turning him in, the other friends try to cover it up, and it leads to a lot of stuff. It's not good. Um, Daniel Roebuck plays the killer, and one of my favorite lines in this movie is, yeah, they asked him why he killed her, and he says, well, because she was talking shit. But I mean, it's just funny. But anyway, it wasn't really a reason to kill her. But Keanu Reeves is basically the star of this movie. He plays the friend who has a conscience and doesn't want to let his friend get away with this. The movie's almost stolen by Crispin Glover as the spaced out friend who wants to protect Daniel Roebuck at all costs. Iona Sky is also in this. Um, Leo Rossi. They're kind of like low class people, lower middle class, and this is just what they do. And a very disturbing movie. I mean, when you see the reactions to the dead body of the girl who was their friend, and then they decide that, yeah, we'll just try to cover it up. But it disturbed a lot of people. It's very realistic. Again, Tim Hunter directs this, and this is called The River's Edge. My number three on my list, available on Prime Video, if you have that. So, we go to number two. This is a real close race this year, I should say, between the one and two movies. I didn't know which one to pick, but it wasn't a tie. It was close to being a tie, but number two is number two, and number one is number one. And this number two is Hoosiers. In my mind, not only the best basketball movie ever made, but the best sports movie ever made, with apologies to Field of Dreams. Gene Hackman plays a coach at a small Indiana high school in the mid-50s who have about 28 boys in the whole school and has trouble fielding a team. And of course, they go on to win the state championship. Now, this would be insane if it wasn't true, but it did actually happen. Not shot for shot, of course, but it did happen. This small team won the state championship in that year under the new coach. Gene Hackman gives one of his best performances in it. The basketball players were played by younger non-actors mostly, but they did great. The time and sets, the production designer was amazing, whoever it was on this movie. When they went into the gyms in the 50s, the high school gyms, how they looked. The referees wearing gray pants, the cheerleaders with their ankle length skirts, the old scoreboards with the analog clocks. It was just amazing. And this was directed by David Anspaugh, who also did Rudy. And that was a good movie too, but I don't think it was as good as this. The final shot is amazing. Just of course, Gene Hackman pulls it all together. Barbara Hershey plays the kind of like the school marm, snooty kind of girl who ends up liking Gene Hackman and comes to believe that he's a good guy. He gets a lot of resistance at first from the townspeople because basketball is their life in Indiana and they don't want to change anything. He has different ideas about how to practice and how to play. And in a great supporting role, you have Dennis Hopper as the old high school star back in the day, who's now become a drunk. And Gene Hackman tries to help him out also by making him one of the assistant coaches. And like I said, very tough call, but number two, Hoosiers. This is available also on Prime and Roku. If you have that, that's free if you have Roku. So if you haven't seen Hoosiers yet, I strongly recommend you do. Okay, so which brings us number one. What was the movie that almost tied Hoosiers for number one, but is number one just on its own? And that is what I consider, with apologies to Steven Spielberg, the best war movie ever made, and that's Platoon. Oliver Stone's story about life in Vietnam in the late 60s. Very realistic. And why was it realistic? Well, because Oliver Stone was there. He saw combat. He knew what was going on there. He saw what it was really like, and he conveyed that to the screen with almost razor sharp realism. And you actually feel like you're there with the soldiers. And I mean, we all knew Vietnam was a bad thing since The Deer Hunter and all those other movies, but this puts you in the trenches, literally, with the soldiers and the grunts, as they call them. I can't say enough about this. When this was out at the theater, I must have saw it 4 or 5 times just at the theater. I'd take everybody I knew and insisted that they went to see it. Um, the stars, it's an ensemble cast. Charlie Sheen is basically the main character, who is kind of like based on Oliver Stone. You have Tom Berenger and Willem Dafoe as good and evil sergeants. They both were nominated for Academy Awards. A young Johnny Depp is in it. Forrest Whitaker. Who else? You got Tony Todd, John McGinley, who's basically in all of Oliver Stone's movies. But the thing about this movie is, say what you want about Oliver Stone. A lot of movies he does a lot of pontificating and that kind of thing. This one, it's just all the war. There's no dream sequences. There's no weird cameras. There's no weird camera angles. It's just the war, as if somebody set up a camera during these battles and, filmed it. So that's our top 10 list. And we're going to do a quick director spotlight on the fly here. And it's going to be James Cameron. Now, James is probably one of the richest directors, I'm sure, because of the movies he's made. One of his early movies was the Terminator, and that's a good movie. The Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the sequels. He didn't do all the sequels, but that was basically where he got started. Then he did Aliens, The Abyss, and of course that all led to Titanic when he became real famous, won the Academy Award for everything. And I don't have any problem with Titanic. I thought it was a great movie. His movies are very, what's the word I want to use? Action-packed, I guess. But I haven't sat through any of his early movies and been bored. I'm not a big fan of the Avatar stuff. I'll watch it, but it's not really my kind of thing. But it for what it is, it's good. A lot of people are big fans of it, obviously, because they make so much money. The Avatar movies. There's a new one. The third one is just now on. I believe it's. I don't know, Disney, HBO, one of those. I'm going to watch it soon. I'll try to get you a review on it. So, James Cameron, a lot of good movies. Action director. I believe he also did a couple other things that weren't action. And he's done well. So, he's done well for himself, I'm sure. But as a director, he's right up there with a lot of them. So, James Cameron, our director spotlight this month. Check out some of his movies if you can. Aliens, The Terminator, Titanic, The Lovely Bones, the Avatar movies, The Abyss. They go on and on. So anyway, that's our show for today. We will see you next week, hopefully a little earlier than Wednesday. Until then, have some popcorn for me. Bye.